Everybody's been wondering why Bitcoin is on track to record a negative year in what was supposed to be a bull market. Well, Michael Saylor might have just given us some clues as to why Bitcoin underperformed in 2025 and what comes next in 2026 in this new interview. So let's play you the first clip. We do got a couple clips for you guys really explaining a lot of the things I've been saying for a while on the show. But of course, it's coming from Saylor. I think he's got a little more insights on what's going on in the market. Here we go.
It's been quite a ride this year. New all-time highs. Now, I mean, when we interviewed you last year around this time, about a year ago, Bitcoin had just crossed 100K for the first time. Today, it's trading at 87K. Why did Bitcoin underperform this year?
It's the world's greatest free market in capital, and 85% of the Bitcoin, notwithstanding all of the corporations that have been acquiring it that people talk about, BlackRock and Strategy get all the publicity, but 85% of the Bitcoin is held in crypto OG hands. We can't even identify them. When I talk to the traders, they say that, the derivatives market, the perpetual market drives this much more than spot, which means that $1.7 trillion worth of capital that can be 20x or 30x levered is held by people that we don't know. And so I think that that in the near term, their moods and their drivers drive this market. And I guess that's the beauty of free market capitalism. But I think that the more important point is the last 12 months have been probably the best 12 months in the history of the industry in terms of fundamentals. And it's profound what's happened since December.
Michael Saylor definitely did not sell his chairs. Yeah. Yeah, those are some crazy chairs to say the least. But all right, let's break this down. Look, the first thing that sticks out to me is what I've been telling you about the options and the leverage. Now that Wall Street is in Bitcoin, it seems to be that most of the action is taking place in the leverage, as Saylor was basically saying, in the 20-30x leverage on options and derivatives. This is where all the action is playing out. And it really does remind you, or rather, I want to remind you of what Larry Fink said just recently. He's like, look, Bitcoin isn't going away. It's going to be here. What is the most interesting part for Larry Fink to say is like, the problem is it's being run by the leverage here. And so I don't know if, Saylor or Larry Fink are in cahoots here, if they got the same message or what, or if this is exactly what's going on. Is that what's really driving Bitcoin? I know Bitcoin is definitely a supply and demand, as he said in the clip, a truly free market. So spot Bitcoin does matter a lot. But as we saw all summer, paper Bitcoin summer was in full effect this year. And we're starting to see now that is where all the action is happening. There is a lot of liquidity hunting going on in the leverage markets right now. And that is where I've been telling you guys to pay attention to. That's what we need to be paying attention to currently in the markets, because my real maybe more tinfoil hat view here is what I think might be going on. And this is just my opinion. This is just more of a gut level feeling here. This is more of OPTI is the source here, so take it with a grain of salt. But I think what is happening is, since Wall Street has finally been able to get into the Bitcoin market in full for the first year, it looks like there is a battle right now from, as I've been kind of saying with friends, like the crypto degen traders that have been essentially in control of Bitcoin for a long, long time. And then Wall Street coming into the space and being like, look, we want to be the center of the leverage. We want to be where all the options and derivatives are coming from. Now they are finally able to unleash these products. So this is why, personally, I think we're starting to see a lot of liquidity being hunted in the leverage and the options and derivatives market, because that seems to be the battleground right now. And I have been telling you guys about, there's a very important options date happening in a couple of days. It is December 26th. So I do have a tweet here to kind of explain what that is, and then I will kind of go back to the Saylor clip. But it does seem to be a little AI written, guys. So let's avoid, or let's disregard the AI slop here, but this is what's happening. Okay, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this account right here, and I just picked the best one. There's a lot of people that are covering this exact scenario, this options expiring on December 26th. But I guess I fell for the AI slop. It just like, it reads good. Okay. And he goes, the reason Bitcoin feels stuck right now isn't sentiment, it's options flows. Over the next 7 days, roughly 415 million in Bitcoin options exposures expires, and nearly 287 million of that hits on December 26 alone. That's the key level. When this much option pressure is concentrated on one date, price gets pinned. That's not necessarily bullish or bearish. That's just controlled. Market makers right now currently don't want Bitcoin to move. If it goes too high, they lose control. If it goes too low, they lose. So they're suppressing the volatility and they're selling into every push, but they buy the dips just enough to kill momentum. And that's why this move looks fake. My buddy actually texted me last night. He's like, dude, the Bitcoin price chart looks so sus right now. And it's like, dude, we know what's going on. They're trying to really take everyone's chips right now in the leverage market, so that I think they can position themselves for a greater move moving into 2026. But after December 26th, that pressure disappears, which is going to be a very interesting time. So in the next week on Friday, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens to Bitcoin. We kind of saw some of this action the last few days. We're at 10 a.m. where we'd expect it to dump. It actually started getting a little frothy, pump in a little bit, and then 30 minutes later it dumps. So this is going to be very interesting the next couple of days. I wouldn't be surprised if we are kind of flat for the next few days. And then after next week is when we might be seeing some action. It could be volatile to the downside as well. Wait, yeah, zoom in on Nico's face. So it goes, you don't instantly replace 287 million of short-dated exposure, especially during the holidays. But once it rolls off, again, December 26th, Bitcoin finally trades without constant intraday control. And this doesn't guarantee a pump or a dump. It just removes the invisible hand, keeping the price boring. If it feels broken, it kind of is structurally, but we're going to see what happens next week. So that's the option. What's so funny? What are you laughing at?
Dude, no one knows. Have we passed 30 seconds yet?
Yes.
No one knows.
Yes.
No one knows what the fuck is going on.
Exactly.
All right.
That's true.
This is the TLDR, right? Like, even Saylor has no idea what the hell is going on, right? This year was the year where everyone got humbled AF. Every single analyst, TR person, YouTuber, ex-influencer, I'm guilty of this myself, got it completely and utterly wrong. And this is what Bitcoin does. This is what market does. If I told you in the beginning of 2025, with the Trump administration going in to power, that gold was going to outperform Bitcoin, and the S&P was going to outperform Bitcoin, and silver was going to outperform Bitcoin, you wouldn't have believed me, right? So yeah, I'm going to continue to harp on what I've been saying for the last couple weeks on this show. No one knows any idea what's happening with Bitcoin. I would say that's a positive and not a negative. And even Chad Saylor himself, like, strategy, the biggest. Why am I hearing myself? Oh, the biggest corporate holder of Bitcoin on planet Earth, with 650,000 coins. He doesn't even know what's going on. Like, he's like, look, it's a free market, which, by the way, that's a great assessment. I love that take from Saylor, by the way. I think it's a fantastic assessment, because Bitcoin is the purest free market of any of the markets. Because if you compare Bitcoin with, for example, like any of the stocks that are trading, on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange or any of the exchanges across the world, there is no circuit breaker. It trades 24/7, 7 days a week, even on Christmas, even on New Year's Eve. It's trading all the time, right? So if that is not free market, I don't know what is. And I think what Saylor was alluding to when he was describing that is like, look, like, it is what it is. 80% plus of these coins are held by OGs. I don't know what the hell those OGs are doing. The derivatives markets come into play. And another thing that I'll mention to you guys is all this kind of weird price action from Bitcoin before the ETFs in 2024, which we like oddly celebrated. I think it was because the Biden administration didn't want it to happen so much. I think that's why we celebrated, to be honest with you. But before the introduction of the ETFs, you know, Bitcoin was pretty cyclical. Like kind of like followed this pattern, and you know, you kind of knew when it was going to go up and blah 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 blah. And it followed this cycle. And this cycle, since the introduction of these ETFs, and I think what you can do with the financialization of Bitcoin, which is, to be blunt, price manipulation. Like, I don't know if you saw that OPTI earlier on this week, where you literally had this crazy BART candle within 3 hours. Ladies and gentlemen,
it happened 2 days in a row.
It went like at like 10 a.m. on the dot. We went from like 85K to 92K within like 30 minutes or something. We're back to 85K. That isn't normal market behavior. Those are market makers. They're trying to shake you out of your bags. I think that's the reality of this. Everyone wanted Wall Street to come and pump their bags, but they forgot what Wall Street is here for. Wall Street is here not to pump your bags. Wall Street is here to pump their bags.
Wall Street is here to steal your bags.
Basically. And the way that they do that is to shake you out of your hodl, right? And they can do that either by messing with the price the way they have been, or making Bitcoin boring. And I think that that's what's happened this year, is that Bitcoin essentially became boring. And like, here's the harsh reality, ladies and gentlemen. This is the tough pill to swallow. And I've been getting a lot of flack for this in the chat the last couple
here we
weeks.
go. We're going bearish. Here's the bear. Here's the bearish sauce.
2025 is a bear market year. Unless things change in 11 days or 12 days, ladies and gentlemen, 2025 is a bear market year. This was a bear market year. We're down for the year. We're down for the last 365 days. I think it's like 12% or something. And that's the reality. Now, 2027, this is, you know, where push comes to shove, right? Bitcoin's never had 2 red years back to back, right? So where do you see the price of Bitcoin at the end of 2026? Because the reality is that if it does follow the 4-year cycle, then it's going to take a year to reset. It's going to take from October to the next October. That's how long it's taken to reset. Now, do I see Bitcoin lower, bottoming out exactly a year from now? That would make 2 red years in a row. That's never happened before in Bitcoin's history. But I think the bull market that comes after that is going to be mind-blowing, right? Well deserving. But you know, I'm just observing what I'm looking at. Like, even the Chad Saylor, who clearly hasn't sold his chairs, he doesn't even know what's happening, bro. He has no idea what's happening. Nobody has any idea. All the TA people, and I love them all. Some of them are my friends on YouTube, got it completely wrong. Like, this cycle's different. It really is.
Damn, the dark cloud is back. Okay, all right. We did that. We did the you know, the price view of what's going on. Though the very end of that clip of Saylor talking, he basically was talking about what we've been saying all year. Even though we've had the most bullish kind of news cycle, we've had a lot of good stuff happened in Bitcoin. Saylor literally went on for like 10 minutes explaining exactly everything that happened from an institutional perspective, a regulatory perspective, you know, the CFTC allowing Bitcoin collateral, all the banks coming in, all of the kind of, you know, tailwinds that are leading and building in 2025 that are kind of building what I've been calling a very strong foundation for why I'm still very bullish on 2026. And he basically was saying, it's like, look, literally 10 minutes of explaining everything that happened this year, the key highlights. I think there were 8 of them. And he goes on to say, essentially, is like, look, it's hard for him to see how this isn't going to be a bullish setup moving forward. Like Nico's still bearish on 2026. Saylor, on the other hand, he's like, he's more bullish on 2026. So I do have a little short clip of like kind of after he wraps all that up to kind of put a bow tie on what his view is for the overall year and where we're headed to 2026. I'll play that one real quick and then we'll be right back.
I think if I was looking at the industry fundamentals, right, and you remember what we were talking about a year ago, right? You couldn't have predicted any of these things. If I had predicted all this, you would have said you're being too optimistic, and right. I don't think I would have been. I don't think I would have been ambitious, or aspirational enough to predict everything that happened, but I would say it's exceeded my expectations at a fundamental level across the board. We couldn't have a more favorable setup for global adoption and institutional adoption of digital assets in general. And by the way, I've been very Bitcoin centric here.
Of course.
So that's Saylor's takeaway here. Again, this just dropped. His view is essentially with all the things that we've been covering all year for Bitcoin. Again, as we've been saying on the show, it's been one of the most bullish news cycles from almost every front around Bitcoin. And yet the Bitcoin price has really underperformed all year long. But as he said, he's like, it's hard for him to see how this isn't a perfect setup for what's to come in 2026. See huge institutional adoption, huge, most likely mainstream retail adoption coming up. It's like everything is setting up perfectly for what everyone's kind of, I think we're all kind of changing our tune now. I know Nico's still bearish here, but it's starting to seem like 2025 might have been that lost year kind of in terms of price, maybe a transitional year from how Bitcoin's reacted the first 16 years of Bitcoin to where we are now, kind of crossing the Rubicon into a totally new era. It does seem like 2026 is probably going to be completely different than we've expected in all past cycles in all of Bitcoin's history. It is kind of setting up for something incredible, I think. Nico's saying 2027. I'm thinking 2026, man. I think with everything that's going on, I'm starting to really be convinced that maybe it's not Q1. I don't know if you guys saw Howard Lutnick did a clip, I think yesterday. He's like, look, guys, Q2 is going to be super bullish. And the takeaway is like, okay, so Q1 is going to be absolutely horrible. It's going to be rough. But hey, moving into the second part of next year, maybe we're going to see all kinds of tailwinds come in. It does seem like the macro uncertainties are starting to resolve themselves. We're starting to see crazy stuff from Japan. They did just raise interest rates. Like the money printer is about to really go into overdrive. The free money coming out of Japan is kind of going off the table. Essentially, the theme of what's been happening towards the end of this year is that central banks can no longer ignore inflation. And so things are going to have to be done. And then, of course, the other kind of wrinkle in this is that Trump is most likely going to be running the economy super hot going into the midterms. It's like it's all kind of going in a very bullish direction because it's like, okay, they're going to run this hot. And money printers coming back on. It finally seems like everyone that is coming from the institutions for Bitcoin has built these Bitcoin products. It seems like next year it's only going to increase. It seems like now a lot of the leverage is about to get decreased. It's about to get de-risked even more. I don't know. We'll see what happens towards the end of this year. I'm not really expecting, the infamous 10-day rally, Santa rally this year, but I am starting to feel like the price is getting a little bubbly, a little frothy. We see a little more life back in the Bitcoin. So, hey, we'll see what happens. It's still under 90K, so, not that bullish, but
you're still dropping opinions on the price, bro.
I'm still getting bullish. It's all setting up for something bullish.
Dog, no one knows what the F is happening, bro. No one knows what's happening.
Yeah, that's why
dude.
I'm making an opinion, because no one knows.
No one knows what's happening. No one knows what's happening, dude. This year is the year of humility. It's the year of, expectations being a little bit, a little bit watered down. And the reality is that Bitcoin right now, it like, where's it going? Right? Like, that's the question on everybody's mind. Where is it going? Is Bitcoin ready to take that next step? Right? We have institutional adoption. Retail is nowhere to be found. And I think that's really the big question. I think that's going to be the big catalyst. That's going to be what's really going to take Bitcoin to the next level, right? Are these big banks, because this is what Saylor has been talking about regarding 2026, are these big banks going to have interest in Bitcoin? Are you going to have more sovereign wealth funds buying Bitcoin? Are you going to have more nation states buying Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin at this market cap, the amount of capital that's required to buy that Bitcoin off of the OG sellers that apparently think the Ponzi's over.
Only you think the Ponzi's over.
I mean, bro, Saylor's saying it himself. He's like, look, all these OGs are selling, right? We had the announcements from like Galaxy Digital, right? You had someone selling like 80,000 Bitcoin for quote unquote estate planning. You have very high profile Bitcoiners saying, hey, I'm selling my spot Bitcoin and I'm buying the ETF, which I think is a horrible idea. But I think that's really the next stress test. And you know what? I think that's a good thing. And the reason I think that's a good thing is because we have seen Bitcoin as this sure bet, 100% guaranteed it's going to work out. And the reality is that's not how it works. Like, there's a reason Bitcoin is considered a risk on asset. Bitcoin is considered a risky investment. And the reason for that, for anyone who were here before 2021, Bitcoin was not a sure bet. Back in 2016 and 2017, none of this was a sure bet. There was so much uncertainty. There was so much people like, oh my God, this thing's going to get banned. The fork wars. Like, we all got decadent. We got lazy AF. We got a pro-Bitcoin president in the White House. The Operation Choke Point 2.0 was ended. And I think we celebrated, man. We celebrated. We're like, we won, right? I even tweeted this out earlier on this year. I said, we won. It's just a waiting game now. I disagree. Now you
disagree with yourself?
Yes, I disagree with myself, because now there's uncertainty back in the markets, which I think is good, because that uncertainty is what brings opportunity, right? If the 4-year cycle is over, it's done. If people can't plan out Bitcoin heading into the future, if Bitcoin has 2 years red, right? Again, it's going to create uncertainty. Those narratives that Bitcoin is dead, that Bitcoin can't go higher from here, that it's going to take 20 years for Bitcoin to hit $1 million. Like, I'm already seeing people adjusting their price expectations. You had, a lot of people saying, oh, it's going to hit 150K or 200K by the end of the year. None of that happened. So people have to adjust their framework, their frame of mind. But I think that's all positive, because again, it's uncertainty. Nobody knows. I wish you guys, or maybe you guys, some of you guys were there. I'm sure some of you guys were there who are listening. But I remember in 2016 and then early 2017, if you would have told me that Bitcoin was going to go from under $1,000 to basically $20,000 by the end of the year, you would not have believed me. It would have been unbelievable. You would have been like, you're crazy. But it's because there was so much uncertainty. No one knew of what Bitcoin was going to do. That's being brought back. In the beginning of the year, we had certainty. We knew we were going to win. We knew that this was going to work out. That's how everyone was feeling. That was the consensus in the beginning of the year. And this whole year was about people getting humbled, right? And I think that's a good thing, right? And this is where I do agree with OPTI. And this is where I am going to side with OPTI. Long term, this is bullish AF. Right? I love the uncertainty. Bring it back. It brings it back. It brings Bitcoin back to its early days. Is Bitcoin going to the next level, or is this it? Right? That's the question. Is this it? Pack it up. You know, we built out this studio for no reason, or is Bitcoin going to mature? Is it going to develop from here? Is it going to take the next step up? Is Bitcoin truly the best money the world has ever seen? Part of that interview that Alex Holmes had with Michael Saylor was
Alex Thorne.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Alex,
you're thinking of Bulldog Holmes.
Sorry guys, it's a Friday. Alex Thorne, by the way, homie, been on the show. Shout out to Galaxy also for recording that podcast. But my point is part of that interview with Alex Thorne and Michael Saylor was Michael Saylor was laying out what's at stake here, right? He was laying out basically like, look, what type of money does human civilization, what type of money is human civilization going to use heading into the future? That is what is at stake. And I want that energy back because that energy was lost. We lost it this year. We were celebrating too early. We were celebrating prematurely. Right. And one of the things that I also want to, like, for all you guys to internalize and for all you guys to remember is this year, people forgot what this is all about. This is about the separation of money and state. This is about individuals reclaiming back their financial sovereignty by taking self-custody of their Bitcoin. And through the financialization of Bitcoin, people completely forgot about that. So bring back the uncertainty, bring back the FUD, bring back the fact that Bitcoin isn't 100% guaranteed to win, because that is how you get greatness. That is how you become a hodler. That is how you pay your dues. So bring all this stuff back, man. I like it. And maybe this makes Bitcoiners weird, dude. Maybe it makes us like want pain. But I'm saying bring on the pain, bring on the uncertainty. If we go back to 30K, bring it. I love it. I want to see people get liquidated. I want that cheaper Bitcoin. But then I know Bitcoin is going to rise like a phoenix from the ashes like it always does, and we're going to head into new highs. The only question is, when is that going to happen? And if anyone tells you that they have any idea of when that's going to happen, they're absolutely lying to you. The only people that accurately, I would say, predicted or actually wrote a responsible report was the Fidelity report that we covered for you guys earlier on this week, because they just completely sat on the fence. They're like, listen, it might be a good time to buy, but if it peaked, it probably isn't a good time to buy. But if you have a 4 to 5 year time horizon, it's still a good time to buy. Like, it was just like a complete and total hedge, right? But again, it's because nobody knows. And I love that. I love that that's back. That was part of Bitcoin's culture. That's part of what made Bitcoiners so hardcore. And again, it's naive optimism, right? It's naive optimism. That's what it is, right? That's what it meant to be a hodler in the early days, when there was so much uncertainty, when you didn't know whether Bitcoin was going to win or not. That's what was missing. And that's what I see coming back with this horrible price performance that we've had this year, and potentially bad performance that we're going to have next year in 2026. So anyways, Opti, that's my bit, bro. I don't know if you want to add more to that, dude, but I like this. I like that we're feeling this way. Maybe this is a cope, but I like it.
All I want to say is, who is this we we're talking about? I didn't forget anything all year long. I think you and I have been battling over this all year long. So don't bundle me in on this we stuff. This is an I thing here. This is a Nico thing here, okay?
Oh, you're saying it's a personal problem.
Yeah, this is a personal problem, bro. Don't be all lumping this in on what you've been going through this year. But I'm glad you're coming to your senses finally.
Oh, that's BS, bro. You were calling for these crazy,
Hey, I still call for the crazy price moves.
Okay,
right?
but you can't play both sides at the same time.
No,
dude.
I'm not playing both sides. What I'm saying is, I didn't forget what Bitcoin was about all year long.
I didn't forget either.
Well, I don't know.
I didn't forget either, but I had expectations, and I think you had expectations for the end of the year too.
I still have expectations for next year.
So the bottom hits when Opti loses hope. When Opti loses hope, that's when the bottom hits. Anyways, guys, it's going to be an incredible show. It is Friday. Opti's going to be traveling next week, so I'm going to be holding it down for you guys. Should be some good shows.
I'm sure everyone's gonna tune out because they can't deal with a week of bearishness.
But enjoy OPTI's.
Why you can? Why you can enjoy the bullishness? Why you can?
We put a picture of OPTI, and we're gonna have that picture of OPTI left there the entire week, and as a remembrance of OPTI leaving for Christmas break.
Yeah, he acts like I am
no
no longer alive.
No, I don't, bro. Why are you saying those horrible things?
Because look at it. Just look, dude. It's like a memorial, dude.
I think it's hilarious. Anyways, I do want to give a special shout out to our lead sponsor, bitcoinwell.com. Guys, this is the best place to buy your Bitcoin. Buy real Bitcoin. Exchanges sell you Bitcoin IOUs. They hold your keys. Bitcoin Well delivers real Bitcoin to your private wallet in minutes. You're in control from the start, zero custodial risk. That's right. It's a non-custodial exchange. If you're a higher net worth individual looking to buy $50,000 worth of Bitcoin or more, you have to go check out Bitcoin Well Infinite today. To get started, go to bitcoinwell.com/OTC. Speak to their team. You could speak to Chantel. You could speak to Riley. You could speak to Adam, and they'll take care of you. It's a white glove service built so that from A to Z, they'll help you buy Bitcoin and take it directly into self-custody. This is a service designed for high net worth individuals, family offices, trusts, and organizations. To get started, go to bitcoinwell.com/OTC. Tell them your friends over at Simply Bitcoin sent you, and you're in very good hands. All right, everybody, let's start the show. We have tons to get to. We're going to be right back in just a bit. I want to give a shout out to our partner, StampSeed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed phrases really secure? StampSeed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need for you to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates. Instead of just writing them down on paper, paper is fragile. Titanium plates are strong. Your words are actually stamped into the titanium plate with this hammer and these letter stamping tools. Once the words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. And now you can customize your titanium seed plates. You can upload your design or logo, and they will laser engrave it on the back of your seed plate, the opposite side of where the words are. Stamp your seed on StampSeed and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the stampseed.com store. All right, everybody, we are back. Guys, scan the QR code on your screen right now. I'll take you directly to stampseed.com and stamp your seed into a plate of titanium, ladies and gentlemen. Again, some ASMR. You don't want to write down your seed words on paper. Stamp them into titanium. Go to stampseed.com today. Use promo code SIMPLY. Again, promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on their store. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is $87,280. Block height, 928,586. Market cap 1.74 trillion. Bitcoin versus gold market cap 5.65%. Decline from all-time high, negative 30.8%. All right, everybody. So before I play you guys this video, I do want to read a post by the Samuorai, one of the Samuorai wallet developers, who, in our opinion, was unjustly prosecuted, targeted. I think it's inherently political. Keon Rodriguez. Unfortunately, we tried. We were scheduled to have him on the show earlier this week. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it, obviously for obvious reasons. He has to get his affairs in order. But I do want to read you, his potentially one of his last posts on X before he surrenders himself to the BOP. So, anyways. Keon says on X, tonight is the last.
Will you zoom in a little bit? Zoom in a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Tonight is the last time I will sleep in my own bed next to my loving wife. For the next 5 years, I will be housed in a federal prison at taxpayer expense for a crime without a victim. Just one of many victims of lawfare perpetrated by a weaponized Biden DOJ, where truth and justice were sidelined in favor of a political anti-innovation agenda, where evidence was hidden and suppressed because it didn't fit the story. Highly partisan line prosecutors needed to tell, where Supreme Court precedents was ignored by activist judges. Tomorrow, I will surrender to FPC Morgantown. It is a minimum security camp, so you won't be, he won't be behind bars. He will be in a prison camp, which is good news. But regardless, he's going to be separated from his family for the next 5 years. I will no longer be Keon Rodriguez inside that institution. Instead, I will be a number 11404-511. But outside of those walls, my name will be kept alive. My loving wife, my family, my friends, all of you who have supported hashtag Pardon Samurai will make sure of that. I know walking into that institution that the story doesn't end there. I maintain hope that President Donald Trump is a fair man, a man of the people who will see this prosecution for what it was, an anti-innovation, anti-American attack on the rights and liberties of free people. I believe his team, Attorney General Pam Bondi, Ed Martin, DOJ, and DAJ Todd Blanche, and others truly want to end the weaponization of the DOJ that the previous administration wielded so effectively. The framers of the Constitution gave the executive the power to pardon for exactly this reason, to balance out and restore justice when no one else would. President Trump has proven he has taken that power seriously. I believe he will continue to wield that power for good and pardon me and Bill. Keep up the noise. Thank you for your support. See you on the other side. And here is a clip of Keon.
It should be non-biased. It should be, let's figure out the truth. And what I've discovered in this entire process is the truth does not matter. The truth is inconsequential to a criminal trial, a federal criminal trial. The prosecutor has decided pre-indictment, and they will, force feed any evidence they can get into their narrative. And that's that. Even if their narrative becomes untenable, they'll never admit that. And they will go as far as they can go, even if they know it's not the truth. And again, I knew there was something wrong with the justice system. We all kind of know there's something wrong with our justice system. But you still think that, well, it's probably the best in the world, even with all its problems. And it's probably, one of the most fair. It's probably better than a lot of other places. And then you go face to face with the Department of Justice and you go, oh, this is a clown show.
All right, everybody. So here's my take on this. President Trump was a victim of lawfare himself. There was multiple cases against him, lots of litigation. I think that the Biden DOJ was extremely weaponized. And to be honest with you, and perhaps this is getting out of our lane a little bit, I hoped we would see more. I hoped we would see more accountability for what happened during the Biden administration, right? The crypto industry, the crypto and Bitcoin industry was like, you had Arthur Hayes, you had CZ, you had Roger Ver. Not a big, I'm just not a fan of just the government just jailing people in general, especially if it's unjust. But clearly all these persecutions, all these political persecutions, including a presidential candidate, was never seen in American history. And President Trump has this unique ability, as the founders included in the Constitution, unique presidential ability to give a full pardon. And I think that the Samurai Wallet developers and the Tornado Cash developers are innocent. They wrote code, and they're not responsible for criminals using that code for illicit purposes. They wrote code to enable people to have privacy. Privacy is a fundamental human right. I truly believe in my heart of hearts that you cannot have freedom without privacy. So what is happening to him is completely unfair and unjust. So I hope that President Trump finds it within himself, and reminds himself as well that Bitcoiners played a huge role in his election, and we thank him for freeing Ross Ulbricht, who was again unjustly the sentence length that they gave him was completely unjust. But again, they did that to make an example out of him, and I fear, which is why this is so dangerous, guys. It's not just about the Samurai wallet developers. It's not about the Tornado Cash developers. This is privacy. Privacy is on the line. That's really what's at stake here. This is why we're making such a big deal. Earlier this year, we were talking about how we were all Ross. We are all Kian. We are all Samurai. We are all Tornado. I don't know about that. It's Ethereum. But you guys get the point. We don't want open source developers persecuted for writing code. Code is fundamentally protected by the First Amendment. This wasn't code that, again, this wasn't code that was built for illicit purposes. This was code that was built so that people could realize some semblance of privacy, right? And they criminalized that, right? Even though it's not a law, but and there's some funky things that happened in the case as well. So I'm going to pass it on to OPTI, get off my soapbox. OPTI, what are your thoughts on this, my friend?
Yeah, obviously, just to start off, I wish Kian and Bill, the Samurai Wallet devs, the best. I don't want to see this. I didn't want to see this. But hey, it is what it is, and hopefully they do get pardoned. It was very interesting when I think it was 2 days ago, I believe it was, but Kian did a post of like his last Christmas dinner, and one of the kind of takeaways that I felt very powerful is it wasn't just like some anon person on the internet, right? He's like, it's a dude with a family, kind of showing, hopefully at least more people notice. It's just showing that like privacy is for normal people. I know on the internet, or at least on Twitter and in the Bitcoin circles, it takes on this like super anon thing. And, it kind of makes it so that the normal person's like, oh, maybe I don't want privacy. Like it seems like a lot of bad people are doing it. Like it makes me feel weird. I really kind of enjoyed that part of this saga. Obviously, it's bittersweet. It's a very sad kind of saga, but it's just like, this is a normal dude with a family, a wife, like it's just a normal family dude. And his job was just very high pressure. And it happened to be around privacy on the internet in transactions around Bitcoin. And the parallels with what we saw with Silk Road, I think, are becoming very glaring. And they said it in their Kian said it in that clip. It's like when they want a certain outcome, they will fit the data how they want to. And we saw what happened with Ross Ulbricht in the past, where they made him out to be, something that he's not. They wanted to make an example of him. And then, of course, we did finally see Trump pardon him. Now, hopefully, we do see a pardon for the Samurai Wallet devs. But when you really look at all the data and what Kian himself said, it's like, they wanted an outcome and they got what they wanted. And it does seem to look like that one of the big kind of battlegrounds right now is privacy. And that is super unfortunate. The precedent is not good moving forward. So hopefully we can get Trump to rewrite this and they do get a pardon. Obviously, he did say earlier this week that he will look into it. We'll see what happens with that. In the meantime, I wish them the best. Good luck, Godspeed. And we will be holding it down until he finally gets released again. And the whole pardon, hashtag pardon Samurai movement is growing. It's getting loud. It literally hit the Oval Office. So like, I don't think this is one of those moments that Bitcoiners are going to just forget about. This is one of those very defining moments. Look, the short of it is, with the way that AI and surveillance is going, privacy in your money is one of the biggest issues that we need right now. And where we currently are right now, it's not a good place. So hopefully we can rewrite this moving forward. Obviously, by we, I'm talking about Trump in the White House. So we'll see what happens. So I wish him the best, man. It's truly unfortunate.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. Guys, if you guys are enjoying the show, you know what to do. Smash that like button. Consider subscribing. And again, if you want to support Simply Bitcoin, guys, go check out our latest merch. We just shipped out the latest batch today. Literally get yours while supplies last. We're already out of certain sizes. Check out the latest drop. You got the HODL hoodie. You got the Bitcoin is going to zero. You got the This Is Not a Negotiation, the Simply Bitcoin hat, and the OG hoodie, which again, literally, I think we have like 3 of these left. But yeah, get yours while supplies last. Guys, we do not drop ship this. We buy all the inventory beforehand. Once that inventory is gone, it's gone. So it's scarce. We do not order it again twice. And again, these are the types of hoodies that you don't want to wash because they're so comfortable. We pay attention to details. All of these are labeled with Simply Bitcoin. It has Bitcoiner slavery in the background and in the back. It's just extremely comfortable, high quality merch. Go to simplybitcoin.com if you guys want to support the show and get your favorite t-shirt or hoodie. I really like the hoodies. I really recommend them. Anyways, guys, this is gonna be a fantastic show. We still have tons to cover. We're gonna be right back in just a bit.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, Ledin, the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Unlock the liquidity in your Bitcoin without having to sell your Bitcoin. They've issued $9 billion in loans to over 10,000 customers since 2018. I absolutely love these guys. Not only do I have an account with them, but I also have a loan. And what I love about them is that there are no monthly payments, and you could pay back the loan at any time. As soon as you send your Bitcoin as collateral, you'll have cash in your account within 24 hours. Over 1,000 5-star customer reviews, and they've never lost a single dollar or sat of customer money. Go to learn.ledin.io/simply today, and you'll get 0.25% off your first loan. I want to give a shout out to our partner, sat123.com. Sovereignty isn't just about your money. It's about your communications too. When the grid goes down, most people go dark. Cell towers fail in hurricanes, cyber attacks, and blackouts. But satellite phones, they don't rely on local infrastructure. Iridium has 77 satellites in orbit, giving you a direct line anywhere in the US, even offshore. If you hold your own Bitcoin keys, you should hold your own comms too. Sat123.com also has everything you need to start building your Bitcoin citadel. Starlink, battery backups, Faraday bags to protect your hardware wallets, and much, much more. It's a one-stop shop for anyone serious about resilience and off-grid independence. Stay connected, stay independent, stay sovereign. Go to sat123.com/simply today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, BitKey. If you already self-custody your Bitcoin, you know the deal with hardware wallets by now. Complex setups, clumsy interfaces, and a seed phrase that can be lost, stolen, or forgotten. BitKey fixes that. BitKey is a multi-sig hardware wallet built by the team behind Square and Cash App. It packs a cryptographic recovery system and built-in inheritance feature into an intuitive, easy-to-use wallet with no seed phrase to sweat over. It's simple, secure, self-custody without the stress. Time named BitKey one of the best inventions of 2024. Get 20% off at bitkey.world. That's BITKEY.world with the code SIMPLY. All right, everybody. Thank you. Guys, go check out bitkey.world. Again, get yourself your Bitcoin, get your Bitcoin in self-custody. Go to bitkey.world today. Use promo code SIMPLY. Again, promo code SIMPLY to get 20% off anything on the store. Again, this is one of the easiest hardware wallets to use on the market. It has inheritance planning built in, and it has multi-sig built in. I had like a little bit of a blank there. Again, it's high quality. All you got to do is you put your fingerprint, you tap it on your phone, bam, bing, bam, boom. It's ready to spend. This is, again, one of the best hardware wallets to gift. They were heading into the holiday season to give to, your family members that perhaps are a little bit intimidated by self-custody. The BitKey is like the iPhone moment for hardware wallets. So go to bitkey.world today. Use promo code SIMPLY to get 20% off anything on the bitkey.world store. So, continuing the narrative we were talking about in the beginning of the show, check this out. Like, when the banks are dropping price predictions, that's usually probably not a good sign. So it used to be influencers who drop predictions. Now it's multi-billion-dollar banks that are dropping Bitcoin price predictions. Ladies and gentlemen,
These are bearish.
If that is not a top signal, I don't know what is. And honestly, I was talking to a friend who's pretty well known in the industry like a couple of days ago, and I remember something that he said, which was just hilarious to me. He was like, Nico, it was probably pretty obvious when we were at Michael Saylor's 100K party. And, you know, at the end, there was like a party on the yacht and there was music. That was probably pretty obvious that we were heading into a top, right? So, yeah, I stick to my guns. I think the end of last year, December 24 and January of 25, I think that was the euphoria phase of this market. And I think we had this top that did happen in October, to be fair. Okay, fine. But an increase that took 10 months from 109K to 126K. I don't think that, and in between we went to 73K. I don't think that is incredible price action. So I think that this cycle we topped on apathy. No one knows Bitcoin's a thing right now. Like, you look at the retail demand and institutional interest, it's non-existent, like it was in 2017, like it was in 2021. No one cares that Bitcoin's a thing right now. No one cares. So when I see these types of articles, like, it just further confirms my bias. So anyways. Amid recent bearish price action, headline on Citigroup's 12-month outlook for Bitcoin of $43,000, or about a 62% upside from the current 88,000. Quote, we forecast increased adoption of digital assets spurred by potential U.S. digital asset legislation in the second quarter, with Bitcoin likely ranging into the new year around 80 to 90,000 user activity value. Citi analysts Alex Saunders, Dirk Weiler, and Vinvo said in their joint report. They said to keep an eye out on the $70,000 level as key support, noting that that was roughly Bitcoin's price just ahead of Donald Trump's 2024 election victory. The base case 12 months out is for a sharp rise of 143,000, driven, they said, by revived ETF demand and positive stock market forecasts. Regulatory catalysts, in particular passage and signing of the Clarity Act already in the House, should drive further adoption and fund flows, they added. But there's also a bear case. They all hedge. And the group pegs that target at a lowly 78,500. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. That's the bottom, which means the actual bottom is probably like 40,000 or down more than 10% from current levels. They believe a global recession would be the catalyst. If there's a global recession, we're going way lower than 78K. The bull case would be 189,000. Yes! Take me there, dude. It's crazy. These big ass banks are dropping 189K price predictions and more than doubling from current levels. And that would be thanks to increase and investor demand, they said. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Citigroup, which is the owner of Citibank, one of the largest banks in the world, is predicting $143,000 Bitcoin in the year base case 2026, with a bear case of 78,000 and a bull case of 190,000. I'll take it. Kind of continuing building on what we were saying earlier on the show. I like it. The reason I like it is because if that were to happen, right? Like if we reached 143K, the memes are broken. The indicators are broken. Expectations are broken. the unknown. This is unknown territory. Like this is it would be excitement again. I would feel alive. I would feel excitement in my bones, right? And then also too, heading into the future, at that point, no one would know what Bitcoin would be doing, right? So like think about, oh man,
Spit it out.
there's a whole industry that has been built on the 4-year cycle, right? There's been a whole industry that's been built around that. There's been a massive amount of indicators. There's been a lot of people that have been treating the 4-year cycle like gospel. If we see 143K next year, like, I just don't want to say it because I don't want to be mean. If you want to say it, fine.
I mean, I don't know where you're going, but I'll take it from here. Actually, can someone fact check me? I haven't looked at it recently. Maybe Nico can find it really quick. But what is the inflation adjusted all-time high for Bitcoin? I feel like it's roughly around that 143. I think last time I checked, it was like 130 or something, like 132, I think it was. So like technically, in inflation adjusted terms, we haven't even broken all-time high at 126, but I haven't actually done the math, and I don't have I don't have that data on hand. But if my memory serves me correct, it seems to be right around that base case kind of view. Now going further, I will start with their bear case, which I think basically confirms what I've been saying. Look, before I even talk about their predictions, what Nico said usually does hold true, that when you're getting these very high Bitcoin predictions from these institutions, it usually is a top signal, kind of going back on that heuristic of like when the shoe shine boy is talking about your stock, that's usually when the top is in. Now, obviously, these banks aren't the shoe shine boys. They're the ones getting their shoes shine. But it's got the same kind of the same kind of feeling here, right? Now, that would usually be my kind of same heuristic view of this. But I think Daddy-O kind of hit it correctly, which is what I was going to say. Something very similar is like the bank should know because they're injecting liquidity into the entire system. So, look. Taking this one by itself, really, I think is just like, okay, whatever, another price prediction. But then there's also the one of Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan, and I think his was 173 next year, which is a lot closer to their bull case for next year. Obviously, no one knows what's going to happen. But my kind of, I guess, more bullish take on all this is really just like my theme right here, or my thesis. This is kind of what I think is going on, is that finally, again, I've been a broken record. Finally, the institutions are able to get into the space. They finally launch all of their products. I'm guessing they're going to go into overdrive next year, marketing Bitcoin, trying to get more people into it, more capital flowing into Bitcoin. And so as much as I was wrong this year, and I really thought it was going to happen this year, I thought those numbers were happening this year. To me, it does seem like these signals coming from these big institutions are... Yeah. Do you have the numbers? Sorry. So I'll repeat, but yeah, go on these numbers.
So the peak from 21, the peak was 69,000. If you adjust for inflation, that's the equivalent of 100 to 105,000 today. So if 2025 peak was 126K, in 2021 dollars would be 105,000. So
Wait. I think you said that wrong.
So
126 in 2025 in today's dollars.
126K today would be worth 105,021.
Oh, okay.
So the peak in 2021 was 69,000. If the 2025 peak was restated in 2021 dollars, it'd be 100 to 105.
Okay. So then we did hit inflation adjusted numbers. Now I wonder what that is,
bro. Barely.
I know, barely. Like literally barely.
Like barely. Not again. Not.
And so it barely was able to break out, which is, I think, like the bearish view on everything that we're saying, 2025. That's why I've been kind of calling it the lost year. And I forget where I got that from. I think it was some institution or some headline. Maybe it was like Forbes or something. They called 2025 Bitcoin's lost year. And I'm like, that's a good framing. I like that. But
that is a good title.
yeah, it's like
a movie.
Yeah, literally Bitcoin's lost year.
Lost year.
Well, and also not just because the price didn't do well, but because it seems like a lot of degens are getting liquidated and they're losing their Bitcoin. So multiple meanings there. Okay, anyways, but back to kind of what I was saying in regards to, I think where we are in this story, considering that all the institutions are finally kind of setting up, it's like the starting race, they're getting in sprinting position, essentially. It does make me think that these price predictions might be a little more accurate than we're used to, especially when you see what Saylor's been doing. Like, I am fully convinced that Saylor knows something that most of us don't know, considering he's been buying like billions of dollars of Bitcoin every week. Like it feels like his stacking is getting put into overdrive because he thinks he's running out of time to get Bitcoin at these prices. And I think that all kind of comes together when it does seem like the institutions are going to, throw a bunch of liquidity, not only into Bitcoin, but we're starting to see the money printers turn back on. So I'm a little more bullish on these predictions because we're seeing it from some of the biggest banks. Now, obviously, what do they know? This is their first, like technically their first or maybe second year in Bitcoin. So they could be, selling their own bags here, selling their products. But I think it's going to be very interesting to see next year if these institutions are the ones in control, which is kind of what my feeling has been. This is kind of what my gut level view of everything is. It's like the institutions are in control now. They want Bitcoin. It's kind of like the classic shitcoiner truism. It's like shitcoiners love Bitcoin. They just love your Bitcoin. Now it's like Wall Street doesn't hate Bitcoin. They just love your Bitcoin. They're just trying to get Bitcoin out of you. So it's not like we really care about these price predictions. It's not like we're going to be trading and these are where we have calls or whatever. Wait, is it whatever? It's not where we have sells. I always get confused with options, calls and puts. It's not like we have sells at 143 or 176 or 189 or whatever. It's more of just like you feel a little better about yourself. You're like, okay, I just feel better now. My purchasing power is going up. Like my Bitcoin's worth more. Hopefully now I'm able to use it more. So it's not like that we're here looking for these numbers to sell out and be completely out of this. It's just more like, again, the higher the Bitcoin price goes, the more people get interested in it, the more people use it, the more people save in it. This is that positive feedback loop of Bitcoin. So I'm as much as I am holding these price predictions from these big banks with like a grain of salt, I think there might be something to them if everything does align into 2026 for a lot more liquidity into the system. So that's kind of the more the opposite of the bear take here.
Look, let's see what happens.
And wait, before we go on, I do find it funny that the last couple of weeks everyone's like, dude, they're literally just performing here on the show. It's like OPTI stays bullish, Nico stays bearish, and it's like, no, dude, guys, we are literally having these same conversations behind the scenes where Nico is bearish, I'm bullish, I've been making my case, Nico's been making his case. It's like we're not just doing this to perform. This is actually where we are right now.
Should we press the button?
Cypherpunks, right code. What's the intrinsic value of Bitcoin, you ask? Way more than $1 million, I'll tell you that much.
Let's go. All right, end it on that one.
I ended at that. All right, everybody. Let's get to the culture segment. We still have a ton to cover. Guys, this is OPTI's last week before he takes a break for the Christmas week. He'll be back, I think. But
no, I'm gone forever.
It might be OPTI's last
dude,
week.
I'm done. I'm done.
So we're gonna reminisce on OPTI being.
No. Actually, I did have something, but
Could we zoom in on?
But maybe we do because I think I'll be back for the new year. I believe New Year's is what, Tuesday or Wednesday's the first, but no. I don't know. Just I'll figure it out as we go. Go.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technology. Why HIVE in 2025? Unstoppable growth. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's position to quadruple their global footprint, making them one of the world's fastest growing miners in 2025. And with elite operations that consistently top the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash, HIVE's now headquartered in the USA. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable Bitcoin mining. You can catch the latest buzz at HIVE Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com. I want to give a shout out to our partner, bitcoinben.io. If you're into freedom, Bitcoin, and building a real community, this is for you. Gain exclusive access to real-world, members-only, private clubs across the globe, featuring poker nights, expert-led classes, co-working spaces, educational meetups, live events, and more. Current locations include Sarasota, Nashville, Boston, Dallas, Las Vegas, and St. Louis, with new clubs launching soon in West Palm Beach, Scottsdale, Alabama, and beyond. Not to mention Bitcoin Ben's resorts in El Salvador. There's 3 of them, and they're absolutely beautiful. You'll also get access to the first fully backed Bitcoin bank with fiat ramps and savings accounts. It's called Private Key Bank. And you guessed it, it's based out of El Salvador. Go peer-to-peer with Bitcoin bulk buys. Tap into home equity for long-term Bitcoin growth. And join their exclusive mining pools if you're interested in mining. What are you waiting for? Head over to bitcoinben.io. Join today, where Bitcoin meets freedom.
All right, everybody. I want you guys to drop in the chat hashtag OPTI lived here.
Dude, it should say OPTI worked here because I'm gone. 2026.
We all have to remember OPTI. We all have to remember him. It was a great phase.
Remember me in the good light, guys.
Remember it was a good phase.
Remember the good things.
It was a good phase in the show's history, and we will never forget you.
Thank you. I feel weird about the fact that you're making it seem like I am not going to be around anymore. I don't even know how to say it on YouTube without anyways. I was going to do
will you be back, OPTI?
Let's keep it a mystery. No, of course I'm gonna be back. Bro, I've been going all year. Okay, let me take a little break, guys. Anyways, I was gonna do like a audible here because but I think I am going to be back before the end of the year, so we can do like a 2025 recap for just us here at Simply. But since you guys are going to be dealing with Nico all next week, I do want to drop one bullish nugget here that I did hear the bank say. This is in regards to more like the broader markets, but I think this can be attributed to Bitcoin as well. So there was this note by Bank of America, and it goes, quote, "Soon all commodity charts will look like gold." Bank of America's Hartnett goes bullish on commodities. Bank of America chief investment strategist Michael Hartnett thinks that oil and energy stocks are the best contrarian bet for 2026 after a long period of underperformance. Hartnett says that the Trump administration's run it hot economic policy will see commodities boom and outpace bonds next year. He regards the despised oil and energy sector as the best contrarian trade out there after a long period of underperformance. Now, you're probably watching this and reading this and it's like, what does this have to do with Bitcoin? Well, two things here that stick out to me. One, of course, we've noticed that Bitcoin is being treated like a digital commodity. Also, of course, the digital gold meme is super strong. So I think, Bitcoin can be considered a commodity. And of course, it can be considered digital gold or digital commodity and digital gold. And then, of course, the energy sector part about this. Bitcoin mining and energy is one. I am totally waiting for the, Petrosat I can't wait till oil is priced in Bitcoin, and that's when we really win. But I find this very interesting because it really is making everything I've been saying, one last bullish kind of view here so that you can hold out throughout the next week of bearishness with Nico. We know a few things. Trump wants to run the economy hot. We're seeing the banks essentially say, hey, there's going to be more liquidity into the system. We're seeing the money printer start to turn on. We're seeing that Bitcoin, whether you consider it a digital gold, a digital commodity, or energy-backed money, it is starting all to kind of point towards a lot of tailwind for Bitcoin. I'm still going to be super bullish going into 2026. I think 2025 was the lost year. Obviously, all our models are broken. Everything is out the window at this point. We are in uncharted waters. I do fundamentally believe that this is that transition year from the old OG Bitcoin holders to a more institutional type investment moving forward. Hence why I think all of the Wall Street products that were being built, though I do not recommend them, I do see that they are building kind of maybe it's like the foundation to build upon moving forward. And I think one of the biggest moves that I saw this year that makes me even more bullish is not just the fact that Larry Fink launched an ETF in 2024 and the amount of inflows going into the ETF, but the fact that it seems like Larry Fink is trying to get his clients' capital into Bitcoin because they know the writing is on the wall, that they're literally trying to get into the exit boats right now. They're trying to get into the safety boats, get on the exit route. And I think that's only going to increase moving forward. So if we can consider Bitcoin a digital commodity, which I think as of now, the CFTC has officially came out and called it a digital commodity. So, hey, commodities are going to follow gold. Obviously, I think Bitcoin is a part of that. So bullish. There's a little bullish sentiment before you guys are stuck with Nico the Bear all week. So
yeah, I just want to go down memory lane. And, when I first met OPTI, we actually went,
dude, I'm not, I'm coming back. I'm not going to be unalived here. Okay, I'll be back.
I never said unalived.
That's just the vibe here.
You're just leaving to California, and you're not coming back,
dude. Docs.
So when I first met OPTI,
totally docs. It's not like my accent doxes me, but Nico just doxes me,
bro. It's a huge state. What are you talking about? Anyways, so when I first met OPTI, it was 1987, and
what? What are you talking about? All right, dude.
No.
Shut his mic off.
Listen. When I first met OPTI, it was
cut this guy off.
We were at Bitcoin Kindergarten Discord, and back in the day, I used to just drop these rips, 20-minute rants.
Peak 2020.
Yeah. And Surfer Jim convinced us to go to a Bitcoin conference, because we never used to go to Bitcoin conference because we thought they were kind of dumb, right?
Just a bunch of nerds.
And he was like, no, you guys have to go to the Bitcoin conference. So the first Bitcoin conference we went to, which holds a very special place in our heart, was BitBlock Boom. And we went there, and OPTI and I, we shared a room, because I hit him up. I'm like, hey dude, if I go to BitBlock Boom,
pause.
Will you stay with me?
Pause.
And that's the first time I met OPTI. And that was the start of our friendship.
Did I have long hair then?
Yeah, you did.
I had long hair then.
Yeah. And he wasn't so jacked how he is now.
That's true.
This was the pre-Sal days. And it was a start of a great relationship. And then when I asked OPTI to join Simply, 2 years into Simply's history, it completely changed. It fundamentally changed Simply Bitcoin. Before Simply Bitcoin, I'm the goat. Before Simply Bitcoin was pre-recorded, there was video formats, and it was actually OPTI's idea.
Dude, I was yelling for like 3 months, and he didn't listen to me.
It was OPTI's idea to take it live, and he said, "Nico, we could actually do this live." And then we kind of figured some things in the back end, because it's a lot harder to like do something live versus like pre-recorded, and you can
pause and re-say what you want to say.
You can edit out all the mistakes and stuff like that. So it's significantly harder to do something live. And we took the show live, and I think it was like the first episode that we did. OPTI did an unmasking because OPTI,
I wasn't an on, guys.
OPTI was an anon, and I remember I was getting a call from my mom, and my mom's Hispanic, and she has a very like thick accent. She's like, "Nicolás, like, why? This guy looks stupid. What is he doing with the mask?" And
I don't think she'd ever seen me before either.
And she's like, that show is not gonna grow, Nico. It's not gonna grow. They can't even see his face. And it was so funny. And then I told OPTI, I'm like, OPTI, you gotta.
No, you're like, yo. He did the like. Look, everyone's yelling at us about the mask, and they say it's not mainstream enough. And I'm like, all right, fuck it, dude. I'll take the mask off. Like, I'm all in on this. Who cares? But yeah, and the worst mistake of my life.
And since then, it's been history, man. It's been history building this together with you, brother. It's been fantastic. And the show's been running for 5.5 years straight, but it's been going live for 3 years straight, 5 days a week, which is gnarly. So with all that being said, OPTI deserves a break because this is his first break
in 3 years,
dude. In a very long time. And I got to give him a shout out because he has been holding it down. I've been dealing with so many things in the back end, guys, from like just the business perspective, that I do got to give a shout out for OPTI for holding down the live show while I take care of other responsibilities. And also, of course, my beautiful wife, Sophia, as well. So,
well, you know what I'm most excited about is seeing you deal with the live show next week. That should be fun. I'm going to be hearing a lot of complaining phone calls.
I haven't forgotten, dude. I got my rep.
I don't know, dude. You're a boomer now.
I got my reps.
You're a boomer.
I got my reps in.
Anyways. Yeah. Daddy-o gets it too.
All right, everybody.
Hey, all right, before we go, guys, I love you. Merry Christmas. I should be back for New Year's, but Merry Christmas to all you guys. Did you buy your return ticket?
Yeah, dude, of course.
No, I'm literally one way. I'm never coming back. Guys, look, I know how to. I'm an adult. I can buy a flight. But anyways, I love you guys.
And you do this like 3.
All right, those are totally different things. All right, hey, I love you guys. Have a good Christmas. I'll miss you guys next week. Oh, actually, I probably won't miss you next week because I'm going to be trying to enjoy my break. But I'll see you guys in, I don't know, 10 days or something like that.
So I want to dedicate the show to OPTI. OPTI, have an amazing...
Dude, I'm still alive.
Have an amazing, well-deserved vacation with the fam on the West Coast. And
Docs.
Hopefully... you'll be back on the East Coast.
You better, dude. I don't know. I'm gonna need some incentives to come back, bro. All right. Let's have it. Love you guys. Right. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Yeah. Have an amazing weekend, everybody. No, you should close it out, bro. You should close it out.
Okay. As I always say, it's the Friday show. We do have a lot more fun on the Friday show. It is a little more casual, but like always, get outside, get some sun on your face, on your eyes in the morning. eat some good food. And while I'm gone, of course, hopefully you are spending time with your loved ones. And if you're not, call your mother and your father. Tell them you love them. It's all that matters, man. It's family. So on that note, could you do an auto pan to the wide shot? I want to see how that looks like from your close up. Oh, the auto.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.